Today, let's make a 3-ring binder zipper pouch perfect for back to school. Welcome, I do sewing and DIY related content, and today we are making a 3-ring binder zipper pouch. So this is actually based off another pattern I saw. I really wanted to have some fabric on the top, bottom, and sides of the vinyl portion. So as you can see, I have these all laid out here, and the measurements are in the description for how much I used for each. But basically, we are going to be combining these 4 pieces together. So with right sides together, I'm going to be taking that strip of fabric at the top, matching it with the right side of the zipper, and then just going through and clipping this. Now the reason I'm using quilting clips for this is because when we start to sew with vinyl, we have to be careful that vinyl is a plastic, so if you put pins through it, the pin mark is going to stay there. You're going to get a little hole. Where if we use the quilting clips, we don't have any holes we have to worry about, and this is able to not damage our vinyl in any way. So now I'm just going to take those 2 seams, and before you do this, be sure you unzip your zipper. It's going to be a lot easier to sew the fabric and the zipper together. And then I'm just going to begin stitching, being sure that I'm back stitching at the beginning and then taking a straight seam all the way down so that I can attach the zipper to the fabric. So now that I have that seam done, you can see that our fabric is attached to our zipper. It's looking good. I also love this fabric. It looks very math, so very back to school. So now what I'm going to be doing is sewing the vinyl portion onto the fabric as well. Now for this, as you can see, I did switch out my presser foot, and I'll talk a little bit about that later, but this is a non-stick presser foot that makes it a lot easier to sew over vinyl. Besides that though, I didn't use anything different. This is just a universal sewing needle, and I'm just taking a straight stitch, being sure to backstitch at the beginning and end. So here is what my vinyl now looks like. So now I just need to sew the zipper onto the other side of the vinyl so that I can have it all connected. So again, just doing this with right sides together, matching the zipper edge with the other vinyl edge and using quilting clips instead of pins so that I don't damage the vinyl. And then I'm just going to take that seam all the way down, that nice straight stitch. You can see I still have that non-stick presser foot on here. It didn't really matter as much in this one since I'm actually sewing the zipper portion, but overall I would highly recommend if you are sewing with vinyl to use a non-stick presser foot, and I have a video about that as well that I can link. So now we have all 4 pieces together, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to top stitch everything, so make sure it's nice and smooth, just taking a very narrow top stitch so that the fabric is laying flat against the zipper and then the vinyl is also laying flat against the zipper. So now when it comes time for the bottom portion of the fabric, I am also going to be top stitching this just so that it all lays nice and flat and I don't have to worry about it bunching up or anything. Now for the top stitching for the vinyl, here is my non-stick presser foot just a little up close. So it just snaps into your sewing machine. It's very simple to use, and I'm just going to be doing the exact same straight stitch as I did for all the other portions of this. So it's very simple, just top stitching this all the way through so that it's nice and clean. And now I am going to go through and use my pinking shears. One thing that I should have mentioned before was for all this fabric, I would highly recommend doing some sort of edge finishing, whether you are serging it, doing an overcast stitch, or using pinking shears. So now I am just going to be finishing my fabric using the pinking shears and then adding fabric on either edge of this bag so that I have this matte theme fabric all the way around the zipper portion. And then I'm just going to be clipping this again in place, as I don't want to use pins. I don't want to damage the vinyl in any way. Once you have it all clipped up, we're just going to repeat those exact same steps for the other side of this bag. So being sure we're using our pinking shears to get it all nice and finished, and then just clipping this all the way up and then clipping the bottom as well so that everything is nice and finished off, and we're just going to be taking those 2 straight seams. So this is a very simple now. We're just going to be taking those 2 straight seams on either side. The one item that I will say is when we're sewing our zipper, if you're at the portion where the zipper doesn't necessarily close, so on that one edge, be sure you just kind of like push it together so that you get it to close as much as possible. There are different ways you can do this. I found that this just worked really well for my bag and I liked how the finish looked. And then when you are sewing the other edge, be cautious of not sewing through any of the metal portion that may come with your zipper, as that will break your needle. So you just want to be careful that when you're sewing through the needle that you're not damaging your needle in any way. So this is what the one side looks like. It looks very nice and neat. And then I'm just going to be repeating all those same steps for the second side, being careful of my needle. And so here is what my entire bag looks like. I did go through and I'm going to be top stitching those 2 seams as well. And so with this, the actual front part of our zipper pouch is complete. So now what I'm going to do is actually make the little rings that it would go in for our 3-ring binder. So I have a piece of fabric here. It's around 9 by 1.5 inches, and I am just going to be taking a straight seam all the way up. As you can see, I have folded it. So just taking one long continuous straight seam. And then once I have it sewn up, I'm going to be turning this right side out. I found a safety pin was a really easy way to do this. I just put a safety pin into one end, closed the safety pin, and then pushed it in on itself, and then just turn the fabric inside out that way. So this is my go-to way of turning. You could definitely use the turning tool if you would like though. And then once I had it all turned right side out, I then just cut this into 3 separate pieces. So since this was a 9-inch piece of fabric to begin with, they were each around 3 inches or so in length. And now these are what we're going to be using to create our little hooks. So now for the back of our zipper pouch, I'm just going to be using this blue fabric, the same that I'm using for the hooks themselves, and just cutting it out to be the same shape as the front of our zipper pouch so that we have a back and a front. And then I'm going to be matching them with right sides together. Be sure that you are trimming any of the fabric as you need to, and that you are finishing it off using your pinking shears or doing in some sort of overlock or serger so that is nice and finished. Once you have that together, we are just going to actually start the process of pinning this all up. So I'm using my quilting clips, but for this step you actually could have used pins if you'd like, since both of these are just cotton material. And then I have a piece of paper here. As you can see, it has 3 holes, and I'm going to be using that to help me determine where to put my fabric loops that we've just created. So I have one loop, and I see that I'm just going to be placing them wherever the holes are. So now to get them to actually be in that loop form, I'm just going to be folding them over once, and then the loop side that you can see there, the folded edge, I am putting that into the zipper pouch. So with right sides together, putting the right side of that loop into the zipper pouch, and then I am just going to be clipping this in place and repeating this for each of these loops. So you have 3 loops are going into our zipper pouch. So I can show you also from above just what this is looking like. So essentially I've just made a sandwich. So I have the back of my pouch, the front of my pouch, and then that loop is in there, and I'm just going to be pinning this so that is in place and holding, and I'm just going to be taking a seam all the way around this bag. Now the one really important thing is you need to make sure that your zipper is actually open for this. So as you can see here, my zipper is open. I have that opening that I'm going to be able to turn this right side out of. We're just taking one large seam all the way around, so if we didn't have our zipper there, we wouldn't have a way to turn this right side out. So be sure that your zipper is open and you are able to turn your bag right side out when you're done sewing. So once you have that all done, the bag is actually complete at this point. It's a really quick make, so we're just going to turn this right side out, zip it up, and here is what our zipper pouch looks like. So this was such a quick and easy make to put together. As you could see, if you wanted to make it so that you see the right side of the fabric from the inside, you could have double layered that. I'm perfectly happy with how it looks. I think it looks really fun, really exciting, and I love how it has that math theme as well, as I did major in math when I was at college. So now if you want to put this into your binder, all you have to do is just connect each of those little loops into your binder rings, and then you close it and you have a little zipper pouch. I found that this was a really fun and easy make. You could do these in so many different colors, varieties, zippers, however you would want. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, the pattern that I based this off of is in the description below, so let me know what you want to see next. Thanks for watching.